Hello, my name is Paul Benedetti. I first came to Boulder in the summer of 1956 when just after I graduated from high school and I was getting ready to enter CU. While I was in law school, uh, I worked all the time I was in school. Most of the time I worked at Tulagi as starting out as a waiter and then a doorman checking IDs and then as a bartender. And in those days, Tulagi was the largest beer consumption, retail consumption establishment in the United States. It was either first or second with Maury's at Yale. And we just sold uh, kegs and kegs of beer on weekends, especially on football weekends. Much since those days is the sink. So one afternoon after a football game with a friend of mine, I went in the sink looking for a girl I know to ask for a date, and I spotted Pam Reed in there sitting in the booth with her roommate. Of course, as usual, as she usually does, she had her purse wide open and her wallet wide open, and dollar bills sticking out. I don't think that's what attracted me to her, but as I walked by, I told her she better watch out for her money. And then I got in line to call this girl. And in those days, to make a call, you had to get in line for a payphone up at the front of the sink. And I turned around. As the line grew, I turned around and looked behind me. And not too far behind me, Pam was standing in line. She was getting ready to call about a blind date with the quarterback from CU in those days, but got to talking to her and we ended up going out on a date, and the rest is history. We ended up getting married. Yeah, didn't spend all my time in bars, but one of the when I first came to Boulder, I think there were I was trying to think. I honestly think there was only one stoplight at Pearl and Broadway, and then shortly afterwards, a second one was installed at Arapahoe and Broadway. Boulder was a town of about, I would say around 25,000, maybe a little bigger in those days. CU was maybe 9,000 students. After we married, we lived for a short time in Kansas City, and then we got wanting to come back to Boulder again. So when we came back, Pam insisted that we buy a house in Boulder, and so we bought the house we live in to this day. Now, 1969, in September of 1969, we bought this house, and we've lived in it ever since.
Been through a lot of renovations and additions. My name is Pam Benedetti. I'm Cassie's grandmother, married to Paul Benedetti for 54 years next March. And we have lived in Boulder in our house that we live in now since 1969 in Boulder. And I went to CU, came from Kansas City, Missouri to go to CU. We did get married, Paul and I, and after we graduated, and we went on to have 3 children, and we have raised them in this house that we live in now. We have 6 grandchildren, and 3 of them are going to be CU students, which I'm very proud of that. My daughter married, there's a big tradition of CU attendees in this family. My kids went to CU, my husband and I went to CU, Cassie, my granddaughter, Blake, my grandson, and another granddaughter, Carolee, will be starting next year at CU.
I still see my old where my old room was in the dorm. At that time it was called Fleming Hall, but now it's Cheyenne Arapahoe Hall, and ironically that's the same hall Blake lived in, my grandson, when he came here. Although he lived at the other end, I was in West Fleming. He lives over on the east side. It was very. It hasn't changed much. The campus, of course,
beautiful.
Has not. The older buildings haven't changed too much. It's still reminiscent of the time we came here, and so is Boulder. It hasn't. One of the nice things about Boulder as a university town never loses its character because the young people are always here, and you drive through town and you see it. It's the same young people every year. It's not, you don't see the population aging as we're aging, but most of the population remains young. And it has really changed, though. The one thing that's changed is the restaurants. It's always been a mecca for people coming here and really enjoying Boulder as a city. It enjoys a wonderful climate and wonderful ambiance, and it's a great place to live. And
it's a destination for a lot of travelers too.
Yeah, we don't ever want to leave, and so we probably won't.
We probably will just stay here forever.
Yes, it's quite a nice place, and you meet all kinds of people from all over the world here. It's just very interesting.